I wish I had somebody to train me mentally and physically growing up. You have an obligation to make it back home. See, my dad didn't make it back home. If he was physically capable, he'd be able to fight off that assailant that robbed him and left him for dead in an alleyway in Brooklyn. If he was financially capable, he'd have the money to get out of Flatbush and buy that house that he really wanted. If he was mentally capable, he wouldn't let that come home and affect him with all the drinking. And in turn, all of those things passed down to us. We grew up drinking, we grew up physically incapable, we grew up financially struggling. But you have the opportunity to change that. So you can find someone to mentally and physically train you. See, growing home in Brooklyn, growing up, was like going through a gauntlet. In school where you went to, you had to go on a train, sometimes 45 minutes or so, through all these different schools, these different neighborhoods, and make it back home. And for me, typically I was alone, maybe with my sister, but there's this gauntlet of just being able to walk from the back of one train to the front of the other without getting fucked with, without getting jumped, by making it home safe. And as we grow up, we're stuck in this mindset of defense, survival mode. And I think that's what draws me to running, is I've been running my whole life. It's what comes natural. But I think that's also what draws me to fitness now, is physically training myself to be able to make it through a difficult moment like that. And the same thing is why I train to be financially successful and make it on my own, so we don't have to stay in shitty neighborhoods and in those unfortunate circumstances. So you have an obligation to make it back home, mentally, to not let anybody fuck with you, whether it's your family, friends, strangers, to make it to the front of the train, to make it back home and get back in one piece so you can be at peace.